mysteries abound around the world, from strange lights in the night skies to ghostly apparitions passing from one realm to the next. From the Great Pyramids of Egypt to what lies in the depths of Loch Ness, from Bigfoot to Atlantis, they are all mysteries waiting to be solved. Join hosts Lori Hood, Jeff Stewart, Ricky, and Lauren Smith as they search for the truth on Nite Callers Bigfoot Radio.
And welcome to Nite Callers Bigfoot Radio. And we're so glad to be back. It's October 3rd, 2016. We're all here.
Yep.
Tonight, I'm sorry, I apologize. I have a really strange noise here. I'm trying to figure out what it is. Okay, I'm here tonight with Lauren. She's one of the oldies, and wanted to let everyone know that Bill and Graz have decided not to do another season, and we want to thank them for helping us out, and we're going to miss them. Love you guys. And
we do.
So
we love
instead,
you.
Yeah, we do. But we have two new hosts, and so first of all, I'd like to introduce Ricky Smith,
Hello.
which is Lauren's husband. Hi, Ricky. Ricky is an outdoorsman, and he loves to fish and camp and hunt, and he's a bit of a survivalist, and he kind of believes in Bigfoot, and but he hasn't seen one yet. So he believes they're possible, right? Is that right, Rick? You believe it's possible that Bigfoot could be out there, right?
There's too many woods to explore, not enough people in the woods.
Yeah,
oh,
he's our resident skeptic. He's going to be playing devil's advocate for us on our guests and everything. Respectfully, he's not going to call him a kook, but he is going to play the other side of the fence for us.
Well, in that respect, we have Jeff Stewart. Hey, Jeff.
Hello.
And Jeff is the same way. Although Jeff is a believer and Jeff has seen Bigfoot before, he is also kind of a debunker, you know. He is very well informed on the different wildlife that's out there and the different things they do and stuff like that. So, you know, he's kind of a debunker, aren't you, Jeff?
Oh, yeah, and I'm not scared of calling somebody a nut job or a lunatic or, you know, just totally off their rocker either. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I'm beyond the politeness mark. Other than respect for a guest, I mean, you know, I'm not rude, but at the same time, I mean, if you think that, you know, Bigfoot's coming in and sitting down at your kitchen table and having tea with you and the missus, I'm probably going to call you nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And in saying that, we'd like to say that, you know, if you know, everyone's entitled to believe what they believe, but we're saying that that's just fine. You can do what you want to out there, but as far as this show is concerned, if you believe in portal jumping, interdimensional travel, if you believe that they're aliens or coming off of spaceships, that's not quite as bad as some of the other stuff we've heard. Or if you believe that they telecommunicate, which some people do believe that. Now, I'm not saying that none of this is true, but we're not going to have it on this show. Mm-hmm. So we can like guarantee that
scientific cold hard facts. We'll speculate because by God, none of us know all the answers, obviously, but we try to keep it real.
That's right.
Well, here's the way I like to put it. Whenever I'm talking to people about it, I like to tell them, how would it have been if the first person that invented the wheel started trying to tell people that there was going to be a Lamborghini someday? That's the way we are in our stage with Bigfoot. We cannot speculate in an educated manner that Bigfoot is able to do all of these extra sensory kind of things and all of these dimensional things and space travel or any of those things. We can't really and truthfully put that before we can prove that they are 100% without a doubt real.
Right.
They exist.
I agree.
They are here. Once we prove that, then we can take the next step and we can say, well, where did they come from? What are they? We can do the tests and the studies and all of that. But before we can fly, we have to invent the wing, so to speak.
Mhm.
That's exactly
correct.
We
got to nail down the basics.
That's right. In this show, we do invite a lot of researchers, people that actually get out in the field. We ask them what methods they use, the things they found. We ask them to share their experiences. I have learned a tremendous amount by just talking to people. And we don't have a whole lot of famous people on the show other than Jeff. But we generally try to find the people that are kind of under the radar. These people are the ones that are actually getting out there and doing the work. And they turned out to be some of the best guests. So we try to find these people and bring them on and have them share what they know. And it's been an incredible journey, Nite Callers Bigfoot Radio, because we've learned
that's
much.
One of the, right. That's one of the key things is I have found through all of my years of doing things, and I've done a few different podcasts and different things, is that a lot of the people, and this has happened to me, when your notoriety increases a little bit, you start not having as much time to get into the field and to do the research and do the investigations and do all those things, because going and appearing at a weekend convention and then you're booked for 15 weekends and you don't get to go. So you find that a lot of people that are more famous, have more notoriety, have actually done less in recent history than the people that you've never heard of before.
That's right. That's right.
So
we've had people that
people.
Yeah. In the first couple of years that Nite Callers ran back in 2010, 2011, we had some famous people on that had written books and stuff, and you get them on, and they've written an entire book about Bigfoot, yet they have never camped out there. They've never researched. They've never seen one, never even heard one, yet here we have them on our show telling us about everything that they have learned from other people. And not that secondhand knowledge is not a bad thing, because that's exactly what we're getting from the people that come on our show. But I'm more interested in hearing about people that actually these things happen to. And being a researcher myself, and Jeff is, and Lauren is, and being researchers ourselves, we know, and Ricky too, by association, he's guilty. We know what to ask people because we've been out there ourselves. And so I think that's why we've always been partial to talking to the regular guy, because we would not know what we know today if it weren't for these people that get out there, spend their own money, their own time, and sacrifice their family and relationships to learn the mystery of Bigfoot. So I commend you all.
Exactly.
Anyone else
I'm
like
the same
to
way.
speak?
This is great.
Yeah. So, Jeff, real quickly, I want you to tell everybody how you got out of jury duty today.
Well, we're sitting there, we're all being what they call huadired, just a fancy name for questioned by a lawyer. And the lawyer is sitting there, and he's asking people questions, and he comes to me, and he's like, Mr. Stewart, what do you do? What is your profession? What do you do? And I looked him square in the eye, and I said, I'm a Bigfoot hunter. And he's like, a what? And I said, I'm a Bigfoot researcher. I'm a cryptozoologist. And he said, what? And I'm like, I'm a cryptozoologist. And what is that? And I explained to him what a cryptozoologist was, and I said, I'm also a writer. I'm a journalist. I write for Texas Fish and Game magazine. I have a couple of books coming out this year, things like that. And he was like, oh, and what do you write about? And I said, Bigfoot. And he's like, okay. And he marked something down in his paper, and a little bit later, whenever they were excusing potential jurors, I was like, one of the first ones, you can go. So I was pretty happy about that. I was like, yes.
Yeah, I was giving him all these, little points, don't talk, if you don't want to get picked, talk a lot, raise your hand a lot, be real obnoxious, they won't pick you. But does he do all of that? No.
He tells them he likes Bigfoot.
Way of doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, when he wrote something down, he probably just checked off on the side, said crazy.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he was like, nut job.
Yeah.
just drew a picture of like a peanut and a coconut or something, He's like, yeah, he's cuckoo.
Yep.
But that's okay. That's okay because I'm going to be in a deer stand in the morning and not in court. So
there you go.
I'm happy.
Lucky.
Yeah, it's bow season here in Texas. I don't know about anyone else, but it's bow season and squirrel season.
And see, my plans in the morning, I'm going to bow hunt, and if I don't get anything while I'm bow hunting, I'm taking my gun with me, and when I put the bow in the truck, I'm going to get my gun out, go hit the creek bottom, and get me a sack full of squirrels, and it's a win-win situation.
There you go.
That's right.
The squirrels too.
What time is dinner?
Exactly. I mean, it's gonna be. I'm either having deer, hog, or squirrel and dumplings tomorrow for supper.
Wow, that sounds good. Last Saturday was my birthday, and everyone always says, "Oh, it's Lori's birthday. It's opening season. It's opening squirrel season." And I'm like, well, I don't know about that. Putting me on the squirrel list there, but yeah.
That's it, man. That's awesome. That's like having your birthday on Christmas Day. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty cool. And it is. It's always usually very nice weather. For opening season, it was an excellent weather for it. It was nice and cool. It was dry. It wasn't rainy or anything like that. And so, yeah, it was a beautiful day for it. Sure was. Well, okay. Now, we've been gone, and we do apologize for being gone longer than we intended. We had anticipated coming back in September, but things just didn't fall into place as easily as we had hoped. So, yeah, we're here finally. But we have been gone for, 4 months? So we should explain what we've been doing while we were gone. Do we have any adventures to share with our listeners? Glad that all of y'all came back, by the way. Welcome back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, I guess nobody had an adventure.
I've been busy writing books, so I have.
Oh.
It's hard to adventure when you're writing.
Well, we bought a house.
Yeah.
That was pretty adventurous.
Oh, yes. Yes. And it's a very nice house, as a matter of fact. And so but you know how buying a house is. It's like 2 months of pure, just brain crush, stress, and everything else. And I had to pray them through it. It was pretty awful. But now they're in their house, and it's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes. So, yeah, that was our adventure. We bought a house. I
That's
kind of
pretty
never want to
adventurous
do it
in itself.
again. Yeah, I never want to do it again. That was, my God.
Yeah, but y'all's marriage made it through it.
We did. Our marriage made it through, and our children survived, because I'm pretty sure our toddler took the brunt of it. But I'm pretty sure the only way I'm ever going to buy a house again is if I win the lottery and pay someone else to do that for me. To be honest. It was terrible. Maybe it's because it's so fresh in my mind, the horror, but we are in our house and we love it. So, yeah, that was our adventure, and I'm really glad we were on hiatus from the show, because you guys would have heard all my ranting and raving about it. So count yourselves lucky that we took our break, because it would have been horrible.
That's right. Yeah, it really would have been. I was going to let everyone know that if you do want to call in and say hello or have anything to share with us, the number is 347-989-0313. You're welcome to call in.
We're starting off slow, starting back slow, so you can call in and chat. And we're just going to kind of shoot the breeze tonight and just kind of get to know each other, get to know everyone, and then we'll hit it hot and heavy next week with a guest.
That's right. We also got new audio, because when we came back, all the audio was gone. So everything had to be reposted. As you can see, our intro didn't start right away, so all these little things, it's kind of like when you leave your house for 4 months and then come back, nothing wants to work right because it's been sitting up. It's kind of the same way with this, I guess, because we'll see how everything else works. Earlier I was talking about when the show first started, I heard the strangest noise. Let me tell y'all about what it sounded like. It sounded like something, and that's why I'm going to ask Jeff, what could it possibly be? I'm on the second floor, and my windows are 16 feet off the ground, but it sounded like something tapping on the glass.
Got your light on in the room?
Yeah.
Was
it
a
could
bug?
be one of two things. Could have been a large moth or something hitting the window trying to get into the light.
It
or
could
it
have
could
been,
have
but
actually
it
been
sounded...
a bat.
That's what I'm thinking it probably was. Yeah. Was a bat.
Yeah,
It sounded like a clicking. It wasn't a thud. It was like a clicking. Click, click, click.
It very well could have been a bat, coming up there trying to get at some insects that were around the window, or just trying to get toward the light itself. And you could have been hearing its little nasty little claws tinkling on the window there.
Nasty.
Nasty little claws. Somebody doesn't like bats.
Bad experience with a bat as a youngster.
We need to hear about this.
Yes, I did. That way we won't bring up bats again. Just go ahead and get it over with.
Spiders are my sore spot, so spiders and bats, let's not bring that up.
Well, I'm the kid, that used to steal Mom's stockings and pantyhose out of her drawer and go stretch them up and make my own mist nets so I could catch bats and things, and so there's no end to my tales of bad things, bad decisions as a kid. there's no end. I mean, catching like big wood rats by hand and like I'm going to make a pet out of
Lord,
it. No, you're going to get you're going to get bit and have rabies shots. That's what you're going to get.
Oh yeah.
I think me and you fit in just right.
I mean, I'm the guy that goes out and catches snakes and brings them home and has them in my house. Like I have terrariums and things, and I'll go catch like a 6-8 foot long snake, chicken snake or rat snake, and bring it in, keep it in a terrarium and study it for a couple of weeks, and then let it go. And 3 or 4 have gotten loose in our house. So I've kept a couple
of cottonmouths. Your wife must be a very understanding woman.
Mhm.
She's she's used to it. The second date we ever went on, actually the first date we ever went on, she watched me chase about a 6-foot chicken snake up a tree, and I actually climbed about 8-9 feet up into a tree to catch the snake. Just
what
get it down, look at it for about 30 seconds, and then put it back in the tree. So.
Oh my gosh. Snakes don't bother me too much, but what is the deal about bats? What happened?
Just I was a kid, and there were a bunch of bats flying around, and of course, being a dumb kid, I'm outside, and I was actually bird hunting, and I shot a bat. I know it's a horrible thing to do. Shouldn't have shot a bat. I was a dumb kid. This is a long time ago. Nobody like write me or anything saying, I can't believe you killed a bat. Because I don't kill things if I don't eat it or whatever. But anyway, so I shoot this bat. I had a 410. I shot this bat. So this bat hits the ground. I'm like, I got me a bat. This is so cool. So I go get the bat, stuff the bat in my pocket. Toward the house I go. Well, I forget about the bat being in my pocket. My mom goes to wash laundry, and of course, Mom rams her hand down in a pants pocket to get loose change or whatever I've left, bullets, whatever I've left in my pocket. She rams her hand down in there and drags out a bat. And the bat didn't die when I shot it. I'd only stunned the little bat, and so he was in this pocket, and he was just snug, he was like, cool, I'm in a pocket. So Mom drags this bat out, and she's holding the bat. Well, she screams, and the bat actually takes off flying. So the bat's in the house. Mom's in the house. I'm at school. So the bat's in the house. Mom's in the house. So I have to get home. Well, when I get home from school that afternoon, my mom's outside. She refused to go back in the house. Mom's been standing outside all day. So I go in the house, I search the house from one end to the other. I cannot find this bat anywhere. So I told Mom, I got him, Mom. He's gone. I figured the bat's already got out. So I tell Mom the bat's gone. Mom comes in the house, and of course I'm in trouble anyway, So Mom comes in the house, reads me the riot act, smacks me around a little bit. I deserved it. So Mom goes to her bedroom. She's finishing her folding clothes, whatever Mom was doing, making the bed, whatever, and I'm in my room going, oh my God, I got to find this bat, Next thing you know, Mom's screaming. She comes running down the hallway. Here's this bat. It's flying behind her, and she's mad. She's thinking, because I done got one bat out of the house, which I really didn't do. She's thinking, now we're infested with bats. She's we're getting the exterminator out here because the house is full of bats. So then I had to come clean before my dad had to call an exterminator and spend money and then really beat my rear end.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, Mom, I really didn't find the bat, blah, blah, blah. Needless to say, that I finally got the bat really and truthfully out of the house where Mom actually saw it exit the premises. And after all of that, I'm like not a fan of bats. I'm sorry. I love movies about bats. I love vampires. I love all the whole 9 yards with that. But as far as they're bad. They're rats with wings. I mean, I'm not a fan of them because they just, to me, they have no redeeming quality. Now, flying foxes, on the other hand, now they're cute. Cool. I like those. I'd have one of them as a pet. I think I could train one of them to fetch and stuff. So I'm cool with those. But like the little Mexican free-tailed bats, little brown bats, or leaf-nosed bats, things like that. Nah, they can have them.
Yeah. Ricky,
I feel like
do you
I
have
should
any
share all
stories?
kinds of bat stuff on your page now.
So, Ricky, do you have any bat stories?
Bat stories? No. I caught a whole handful of red-haired tarantulas one time, and I was about 13.
Oh, no.
Oh, just wait. Just wait till you hear the rest of it.
I brought them back home, and I kept them for, a couple weeks. We ended up losing one, and finally Mom's like, you got to get rid of all of them. And one ended up dying in a tank. And this lady that lived across the street from us, she always hung out with my mom for, 7 or 8 years. They came over to the backyard one time, and she was out in the backyard suntanning. So I took that dead tarantula and ran up and threw it on her chest. She set up real quick.
Yeah.
She didn't sit up real quick. He is leaving part of the story out. She had just had an enhancement done in a certain area on her chest and sat up real quick and took that shirt off to get the dead spider off of her. And 13-year-old Ricky is sitting there enjoying the picture.
She jumped up and ran all the way around the yard. I just sat on the porch and watched.
Bad. That's terrible.
There's a method to the madness.
I don't like tarantulas at all.
No spiders. No spiders. Nope.
The big tarantulas, man, they're like big old babies. They don't hurt anything. I've never had one
they bite.
Get mad.
They bite.
No.
Yes, they do too. They sure do.
I have picked dozens of them up. Never had a problem with them.
Well, they have big old fangs, and they do bite. They do bite.
You know, it's weird. The one insect or anything that bugs me, because, nothing really bugs me. You could submerge me in a tank full of snakes, and I wouldn't care. You could, put eels on me. It doesn't matter. But you get a tick on me.
Oh.
If I find a tick, crawling on me or something, it just sends chills down my spine, and people are like, really? Ticks, you? All the stuff you do and everything, you're going to, just weird out over a tick. And I'm like, yeah. Have you ever seen the movie Ticks? Yeah, but have you ever seen the movie Ticks? That's the nastiest. You need to watch it. That's the nastiest movie you ever saw, and that movie scares me worse than anything you can ever watch.
I've never even heard of it.
Oh, it's creepy. It's good though.
No,
you need to watch it.
The one that gets me.
You ever see somebody with a 4-pound tick attached to them? Oh yeah.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
Oh yeah, they're like industrial size, radioactive, like zombie ticks or something.
You know what? They just run out of stuff to put in these movies.
They do.
Dragging the tick in there.
I had a horrifying experience with a tick, and I've been traumatized for life. So my sister and I were playing dolls, and these little plastic dolls had little pretend loaves of bread and pretend food. Well, I saw one of the loaves of bread sitting on the carpet, so I picked it up, but it was a weird color. So I pick it up and put it up to my eye. It's like the little bitty toys, I put it up to my eye and squeeze it a little. Well, it had some give, and then I see little bitty legs squiggling. And realize it's a fat tick full of blood. So I throw it down, and I literally climbed on top of my sister's head to get away from that
I would have
tick.
too. I'm the guy that will fight a grizzly bear with a toothpick. I don't care. But I will totally turn into a 13-year-old white girl and crawl up on the couch over a tick.
I do that over
I'm that way with spider webs. I'm the same way with spider webs. I will walk through the deepest, thickest, nastiest jungle there is just to go and hang my hammock and camp somewhere. But man, I could turn a blind eye and just have a spider web lay across my face, and I'll flip out. I'll be running through there like Ace Ventura, man. I can't deal with spider webs. I can hold a spider. I can see the spider. It's okay. But if I just walk through it and I don't know where that dude's at, I'm freaking out. Clothes are coming off.
Well, we're at the half mark. We're going to go ahead and stop right here and take a quick intermission, let everyone go and run to the bathroom and everything, and then we'll be back in probably about a little over 4 minutes. We'll be back. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Well, so this is going to be a really quick show. This is kind of unusual for us to do just an hour long, but like we said earlier, we're just trying to work all the bugs out. Next week will be the real deal. And we're just kind of sharing stories tonight. So, Lauren, how about you tell us about your scariest Bigfoot experience?
There are just so many because I happen to be the daughter of one of the most fearless Bigfoot researchers out there who dragged my little squatch bait self into the woods. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Oh, man. Well, okay, the scariest thing that ever happened to me. There were a few because, like I said, I was raised as squatch bait to Lori, and she'd take me out with her, and we had some happenings. But the scariest thing that ever happened, we were doing a live in the field show at Lori's house in the middle of the woods, and we're doing a live in the field show, and I think we had just hung up. But we were still talking on the phone. Well, Lori was. And I was sitting in the chair, and I had seen eye shine off to my left beyond the scope of the porch light. And I saw the eye shine, and I wasn't sure if that's really what it was, so I kept looking in that direction. And I saw it again a little bit farther in front of me, and I said, okay, it moved. So I kept looking again and looking and looking. Well, I got this feeling. My mom has these big bushes that are, I don't know, like 10, 15 feet away from the porch, and there's no other cover in the yard except for these bushes. And I thought to myself, well, maybe because I hadn't seen the eye shine in a while, I thought maybe the thing had crawled up and was hiding behind the bushes and watching. So I stared directly at the bushes, and I kind of raised up out of my chair a little, looking at the bushes, and this thing growled at me. And it wasn't like a cat growling or a dog growling or even a mountain lion growling. This thing sounded like a damn, I don't even know. It was huge, this growl. I sat my ass back down in that chair, grabbed onto the chair to hold myself in the chair because I was like fight or flight kicking in and I was about to bolt. So I'm holding onto the chair physically, trying not to get up and run. And I'm looking around and I'm like, "Did you hear that? Did you hear that?" Of course, nobody else is paying attention. I don't know how they didn't hear it. And so finally I just
heard it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I get up. And, yeah, she told me it was a semi because I was so terrified. She was like, "Oh, no, Lauren, I think you heard a semi out in the middle of the damn woods." I mean, she lives in the middle of nowhere. You can hear a semi 30 minutes before it gets to her house. It was a semi. So I just kind of got up, and I went inside, and Ricky was in there asleep on the couch, and I kind of sat down next to him, and he wakes up and looks at me, and I'm white as a sheet. I am terrified. Oh, my God. That was the scariest thing that's ever happened to me because I never had one be aggressive to me. You know, I've had feelings where I was scared, and I knew they were there, but they never messed with me. That one growled at me like, "Chick, stop looking at me. I'm trying to spy on y'all, and you are pinpointing my location. Turn your ugly face around." I mean, it scared the beast out of me. I've never felt so. I felt attacked, I guess. Like
yeah,
he singled me out. Like, "Stop looking at me. No one else is paying attention. Quit looking at me." And he growled at me, and it scared the crap out of me. That's the scariest. One of the scariest times. The others were never directly at me, so that one just. Whew.
Well, I apologize
probably trying to
now
drop
for
a
not
deuce.
being more. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
He's probably trying to drop a deuce, and Lauren kept watching him.
Oh, man.
Well, I apologize for not being
sneaky.
more supportive.
Well, thanks. I'm traumatized. have to seek therapy now. Because you didn't believe me. I honestly thought you didn't believe me, or you didn't hear it.
No, I knew that I could hear it over there because it didn't just growl once. It kept growling.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was, I mean, we were like 3 feet from each other, so I doubt seriously there was any way I couldn't hear it too. And I knew where it was coming from, but I just wanted to tell you that it was a semi, because we do have saltwater trucks out there, you know, and stuff for the rigs, the old oil field stuff. And I just told you that maybe because then that way you would think it was that and you would calm down. I think you were experienced enough to know what you were listening to. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job, Lauren. Good job.
Why, thanks. Well, I figured the way it growled, I just kept thinking to myself, its chest had to be just massive to make that growl. God, that scared the bejesus out of me. I will never forget that sound, that feeling. It wasn't a roar. It was a straight-up growl, like, turn.
Well, and it was very close, too. It was very close. We're talking 8 feet. 8 feet, maybe.
I'm a horrible judge.
From you. Maybe 10. Maybe 10 feet. That's close enough.
That's close enough. I'm good.
Well, thank you for sharing that. How about you, Jeff? How about you, Jeff? Surely you have been afraid at one time or another. Surely. Do you ever feel like you were in a spot you shouldn't have been, or just like thinking to yourself, what am I thinking being here? Oh, I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me. I must be out of my mind to do this.
As far as, you know, Bigfoot, things like that, I've never really been scared. I've been startled a few times. You know, if you have one jump out of a tree and land 5 feet from you, you know, it startles you. But scared is more along the lines of doing my paranormal research and things like that now. Because I am a demonologist on top of being a cryptozoologist. I'm also a demonologist. I am an ordained minister, and I have a degree in theology from Baptist Christian University. So I kind of, you know, I don't preach or anything. I'm not a preacher. I just am an ordained minister, but I go and do paranormal research too. And, you know, back before I got into all that, I guess you would say my baptism into the paranormal. If you go all the way back to when I was about 5 years old, my grandmother passed away, and she had been living in the house with my parents and I and my 2 sisters when she passed away. Her ghost remained in our home forever until that home was no longer. You know, you could be sitting in our living room and look at the hallway, and you would see her standing there. Not just family members, but anyone that visited our home. If they spent enough time in the home, you were going to see my grandmother. Or my grandmother was a smoker, and sometimes, you know, us kids would be home alone, and you would smell her tobacco. You would smell her cigarettes. You know, you would smell like a freshly lit cigarette, and there would be nobody but us, you know, anywhere from 5-year-old up to 11 or 12-year-old kids in the house. So nobody was sitting there smoking. And so that was kind of one of my baptisms there, but my real, like, in the fire baptism. I was about 16 years old. A friend of mine's father, even at 16, you know, I was the guy that if you had something that went bump in the night around your place, they called me. I'd go hunt the coyotes, the bobcats, trap the hogs, whatever. But a friend of mine's dad, he told me, because back then we didn't have cell phones, when we got to his house, that earlier that day that a very emaciated, mange-ridden bulldog had came up to their house and growled at his 3-year-old granddaughter. And he had actually shot the dog. Well, he shot the dog in the head with a .22, he said, but it didn't faze him. He said, I was, you know, 10 feet away from the dog, and he said, I shot it right between the eyes. And because he said, I didn't want the dog to suffer, I wanted to kill it, you know. Right. And the dog turned, and he said it ran away. Well, he asked me if I would find the dog. Well, even back then, I was one of the best trackers that was around. And so I started tracking this dog, first with its footprints in the sand, then by the blood, where, it was proof that he had shot it and hit it, there were droplets of blood. And I followed this about a quarter of a mile back down. They lived down a dirt road, and there were only two houses down this dirt road that was probably about 2 miles, 3 miles long. It dead-ended at my friend's house. Anyway, so I trail this dog, me and 5 friends. They're all behind me, and we trail this dog up to this house. The house that was down the road from them was abandoned. The family that lived there abandoned it because the 2 older brothers had been worshiping Satan and practicing sacrifices and rituals. And the parents just, one weekend when the 2 brothers went off to the movies, literally in like 6 hours, they brought in a U-Haul. They stripped the house, put it in U-Hauls, and left. And all of the brothers' belongings, they dumped in the yard. Well, when we got down to the house is abandoned, but one of the bedroom windows is open now. The blood goes up to the house. It goes up a couple of drips on the windowsill, but when it goes inside the house, there's no blood, just like you turned a faucet off. So we're hunting for this dog. My experience tells me when the blood trail stops, the animal you're looking for is not far from when the blood trail stops. Usually they're, laying in a creek bed, or they're somewhere they hide themselves to feel safe whenever they die. So I'm looking for this dog. Can't find it. We go all through the house. I know we weren't supposed to be in it, but, we're hunting this dog. Because one thing, I was like, I've got to put this dog out of its misery. If it's sitting here wounded and hurt on top of being emaciated, having the mange, blah, 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 this poor animal is suffering. So here I am trying to be Mr. blah, blah, blah. And so I'm searching. We can't find this dog anywhere. Finally, one of my friends says, I found it, and it was up under the front porch. Now, how this dog got from inside that bedroom window to under the front porch without coming back out the bedroom window that we saw or anything, there was no blood trail coming out, no nothing. Well, my friend reaches up under the porch and actually grabs his dog, drags it out. I actually had a 12-gauge shotgun in my hand. Another friend had a semi-automatic 22 rifle. And a couple of the guys had, baseball bats or whatever. So when he drags the dog out, the dog turns and starts trying to attack us. Well, my friend with the 22, it's a semi-automatic 22, he unloads this 22 into this dog. We're talking 13, 14 shots at point-blank range. This dog does not even act like it's hit. At this point, I actually shot the dog's head completely off with a 12-gauge shotgun. Took it off at the nose. There was nothing but a lower jaw, a mandible, and a tongue, and it was still on its leg, on all fours, and it was still walking, coming at us, advancing with no head. Well, I turned the dog into hamburger meat with the shotgun. We dug a hole. We buried this dog. And we just chalked it up to, wow, this is a weird happening. Well, 2 days later, I went back. Yeah. So 2 days later, I go back by this house, and I pull in the driveway because just me being me, I've got to go back, I've got to go look at this. Something ain't right. So I go, and where we had buried the dog, there's just a hole there. There's no dog anymore. There's nothing in the hole. And I'm like, okay, something has dug this up. But there were no tracks around the hole. There were no dog tracks. There were no coyote tracks. There were no tracks where something else had dug it up and eaten it. There was no evidence. It was just, the hole was just back a hole. So I'm like, wow. So I'm looking, and I'm like going down, looking. There's a barn back behind the house. When I get to this barn, it's not locked or anything. I open the door, and I'm immediately greeted with probably 15 to 20 carcasses of rabbits, mostly some chickens, some different animals that were nailed to the barn wall. And it appears that they had been nailed there while they were alive, because it was like the whole animal. It was not a skinned animal. It was like a totally intact animal, and they were nailed there like they were crucified almost. Like the rabbits had been nailed with their backs to the wall, like their little paws. They had nailed nails through all four paws, and like one nail like through their head. And so I'm looking at all this, and I'm going, you know, man, somebody's a sick turd, you know. And on the wooden 4x4s that were holding the, you know, going up in the posts in the barn, there were all kinds of symbols and ritualistic looking carvings carved into this wood. And as I'm walking through this barn, this barn's probably 60, 80 feet long. And when I get to the other end of it, I push the door at the other end open and kind of let the breeze blow through this barn, because it smelled like death and decay in there. And there's just bones everywhere. There's just like hundreds of bones everywhere. Mostly look like, you know, rabbits, dogs, small animals, things like that, all in this barn. And I get this eerie feeling that something is watching me. I turn to see what's watching me, you know, because I'm figuring maybe there's an owl in the rafters, maybe anything, you know. And when I turn around, the dog that we had killed is standing in the doorway at the opposite end of the barn. And it's looking at me.
My God.
I didn't have a gun. I had not the gun probably would have done any good since I'd already killed it. Yes, it looked just like it did before it was ever shot.
Y'all shot it.
And I'm looking at this animal, and I'm like going, wow. Well, immediately, you know, you kind of close your eyes and, you know, like, wow, am I seeing what I'm seeing? Kind of blink a few times. Well, it was gone. And I'm like, man, my nerves are getting the best of me, you know. So back to that end of the barn I went, and when I reached the other door, I looked up back toward the house, which was probably about 100 yards from that door, and there the dog stands at the end of the driveway where I had parked to walk down to the barn. The dog is standing maybe 10, 12 feet in front of my truck. There's no way, I mean, I walked 60 feet from one door of that barn to the other pretty rapidly. There's no way that dog, even if it was a different dog, had ran from the door up to my truck and stopped. There wasn't that much time. And this thing is standing there, and it's looking at me, and it's looking dead at me the whole time. And I'm sitting there going, what am I going to do? So I reach down and I pick up a stick that was laying on the floor of this barn. I'm like, well, I got to have something. I mean, I'm not going out like a punk, you know. I'm going to be fighting. It may kill me, but I'm going to be fighting. And when I pick up this stick, this thing is watching me, and it starts walking back toward the house. And it's never taken its eyes off of it. And it walks until it disappears, like going into the house. I thought that it went into maybe a door or something that I couldn't see from where I was. And I was walking, I had that stick in my hand. I happened to look down at the stick, and the stick is all carved with intricate, I mean, somebody had to have spent hours upon hours upon hours carving these little runes into this stick. And I was looking at it, and I was like, oh, man, this is cool. And then I got to thinking, and I was like, hell no. And I threw it down. You know, I'm like, I don't need this. I don't need this bad mojo, you know. So up to the house I go, because I mean I'm still me. I mean I'm 16-year-old boy. I'm 6 foot tall, 200 pounds, you know. But to me, I'm 10 foot tall and bulletproof. So I walk up to the house, and where this dog had walked and disappeared into was a solid brick wall on the side of the house. There's no way. I mean, there was nothing there. So I'm like, maybe my eyes played tricks on me. Well, as I'm standing there, I hear something, and I turn, and I look, and back down at the barn, standing in the doorway I had just left, is that dog standing in that doorway.
I'm going to have nightmares tonight. Thank you, Jeff. Oh, God. Oh man.
Well, hold on. There's still a little bit left.
Okay, you have 4 minutes 40 seconds. Go ahead.
Boy, I was standing there watching that dog. Well, it turned and went into the barn and disappeared. I retrieved another gun out of my truck. I had a .22 pistol in my truck I carried. So down to the barn I go. I'm like, this thing's got to be flesh and blood. I mean, I'm not into ghosts at this time. I'm not into anything paranormal or anything. I'm a teenager. To the barn I go. No dog, no evidence anywhere. So I'm searching around, and behind that barn, about 40 or 50 feet, was just a little lean-to shed. I go down to that little lean-to shed, and there are 5 puppies down there that looked identical to the mother or to the dog that we had killed the day before or whatever.
Oh.
And laying there was the eaten remains of the dog that we had killed. And those puppies were evidently her puppies. They had dug the carcass up, dragged it down there, and was eating on that carcass. Every one of these puppies was so starved and so emaciated and so nasty that, there would have been, you couldn't have even taken them to a pound or a vet, and they wouldn't have done anything. So I dispatched all of these puppies, one after the other. And I didn't bury them or do anything with them, and I left. 2 days later, I was going to my friend's house, and the dog, the mother dog, the big dog that we had killed, was standing in the middle of the dirt road in front of me. And I never slowed down, and I was like, I'm just going to run over it. And I swear to you, I drove right through the dog. I looked in my rearview mirror, and the dog is standing in the middle of the road. So I guess that is the scariest. That is the scariest thing that has ever really happened to me. And that, I guess you could say, like I said, that was my baptism by fire into the world of the paranormal.
That's
a whole dude, you're making my eye twitch.
What's even cooler is I've got a deer stand that's not 200 yards from the front porch of that house that's still standing.
See, that's the only
thing. You ever see that dog?
Never. I have never seen it again. But that house is so cursed. Every person that has lived in that house since that day, they have either died, they have gotten put in prison, or they have ended in divorce, or there has been something happen. A friend of mine recently purchased a house and land. They had like $10,000 worth of tools there to work on the house. All of their tools, every time they put them there, they're stolen within like 24 hours. And there's no evidence of anybody coming and stealing them.
Burn it. Burn it all down.
It needs more than that. It needs a total deliverance.
I'm good. I got my medicine bag around my neck, and I'm like, hey, I'm good. I got a little sage and a little precious stone, a little tobacco around my neck. I'm good.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was one. Woo, that was a good ghost story. You should have saved that one for the Halloween show. But I bet you have some more.
Over the past, 25 or 30 years, yes, ma'am, I have more.
Great.
Dead bodies hanging from train trestles. Think about that one.
Nope.
Well, we're down to 49 seconds, so we better say goodbye. And everyone, we'll see you next week. We'll have a guest next week, so y'all come back and say yes. Everyone say goodbye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
All right. Let me try this outro here.